All right.
Bring us back
Okay,
again.
like we're back up again. Okay, so we in the past in the other video, this is gonna be in two parts. It's Paul Walker part two,
Yeah.
and so we were talking about the different that we had Googled Paul Walker and the word Illuminati, and there's just so much stuff about people already kind of speculating theories that his death might have been, on purpose. And, if you Google Paul Walker with the word Illuminati, this is what, a lot of stuff immediately come up. And he really hasn't been dead for even a week yet. So, one of the theories is that his car might have been remote controlled by one of those systems that they have, like the OnStar systems that happened to the journalist Michael Hastings. And there's a lot that's been written about this. There's also rumors that he was doing a fundraiser, in the Philippines, and they found tainted medicine that is causing women to be infertile. And then there's the Eric Holder Fast and Furious situation where, because of the two titles, now, Fast and Furious will be associated with Paul Walker and his death in people's minds more than, that it was Operation Fast and Furious where they gave guns to the cartels in Mexico to catch them. But honestly, like over 300 children died because of those guns being out. There's a lot of things that a lot of people are theorizing that might be the reason that he died. One was, and I posted something in Facebook, and people are surprising to me are having reactions to it because when I did it, I'm like, man, I'm really looking like I'm wearing the tin hat now, you know what I mean? So I wanted to see, kind of almost to do to experiment. I mean, I have my own personal theories about it. I have my own intuition about it, but that's regardless of that, I'm just, curious. There seems to be that there is a bit of a fascination about it. And I just find that interesting right now. What do you guys think?
Have you ever looked in Paul Walker's eyes? How are you not fascinated? Like, no, my whole thing with Paul Walker, I did, I looked into them all, and two of them struck me as very close to home, and the one was the Fast and the Furious. One, I always wondered why the CIA named that operation that, because the very first Fast and the Furious movie was out well before that operation was even thought of. So that's kind of an interesting. They actually named this operation the same name as that movie because if it went bad, you know what I'm saying? They already had it covered. As far as social media goes and the flowing information through the internet. When Paul Walker died, well, not just when he died, but about 2.5 weeks ago, Eric Holder, and he had already been charged, but they came out with the press release that he was going to formally charge him for this, and in a few weeks he would actually be appearing in front of like a grand jury, right? Okay, so that came out. Next thing you know, Paul Walker is dead. Now you Google Fast and the Furious, you don't see anything on Eric Holder. You don't see anything on Operation Fast and Furious. The only thing you see is Paul Walker, and that's pretty interesting when you think about the flow of information. Now the timing's right on that, so that's just, that's a really good plausible one. But the other one that I found even more interesting was the bitcoins. Well, apparently Paul Walker was very big into giving. He really didn't live like he was like a movie star, so he gave most of his money away. What I found really interesting was how he gave his money away. He didn't give his money to charities in the forms of a check or money. He gave them bitcoins.
Hmm.
He made over $40 million in bitcoins.
That's
That is a
good.
little.
He was
That's a little
worth that
interesting when
much
you start.
money?
Bitcoins are basically metadata. So he was already in the business of trading information or giving it away, for that matter.
Yeah, I thought the Bitcoin thing was interesting too, and especially since you had been talking about it recently. And you know, you can, and you've told me, I don't know if it's been, I have to go back to our footage and see if it's on previous trips, but you've been saying that that's the new money, is
It,
Bitcoins.
Yeah.
and look, it's why they're doing what they're doing. I mean, look at Obamacare. The idea of Obamacare isn't to give anybody health insurance or to collect your $100 a month. It's for you to get online, go onto a computer or one of these health centers in your state, and give them all your information. Tell them everything about yourself. Do it. I mean, that's what they want. They want to know your name, your birthday.
I'm
They want to know what
looking, I'm
to
looking
do.
at a Skype at a you know at Skype right now, and all the info that they want from me. You know, I don't fill out half that shit. Same with Google. Same with fucking Facebook. You know, and that's what it is. They're after our info, and fucking. I think that it's a not a game so much. I think it's a little bit bigger than a game. Seeing as how our president is so fucking involved with it, but
Right. And well, IRS is collecting it. Why is the IRS collecting your health insurance information? That's what the IRS deals in money. Your health insurance and your health. Since when are you gonna go? Hey, I'm gonna ask my local IRS agent. If I need these pills that I saw on a commercial. Like seriously. I mean, you don't go to a farmer. I messed that one. I was gonna say you don't go to a mechanic. Slaughter your bull. By sticking your head up its ass. I was gonna do some Tommy Boy shit. But really, you don't go to somebody that's like a mechanic and say, hey, I need you to put my foot back on. Why would you go to somebody who deals in money, who deals not only in money, but deals in ripping other people's money off illegally, by the way? The IRS is not legal taxing, like North Flat said, taxing income. And so they're already shiesty. Now you want to give them all of your information and they plan on giving you cheap health insurance back? It's like, it's almost like that sign you posted, Terry. Like, hey, buy your groceries here and get 10% off this flu shot that you don't know what we're injecting you with.
I think
Same.
it's just another example of history repeating itself, Kevin.
It is.
You
Just the
know,
same.
so soon we forget. You know,
I said that to that kid. That kid said, no, they're just doing it to make life easier for Google
Pick
Glasses.
it,
And I was
pick that
thinking, tell
nose,
that
pick
to
it.
the Jew.
Picking the nose, picking the nose.
you like that? Hold on, let me put it right there for you.
Ew, gross. Gross. I can't
Is it
look
on
up
the
now.
lens? It's not on the lens.
Yes,
Yes,
it
it
is.
is. Yes,
What?
you know what? I'm doing a long shot. You can still see it.
That's pretty good.
Oh God.
Here, let me get
Oh, the fever.
You know, I just read something the other day that said that that children that eat their boogers are less
Yep.
likely to get sick. Their immune systems are way stronger than children that don't.
Are you saying boogers are a cure for AIDS?
That is, I don't, it's hard.
That's what I said, Jason.
This a comedy show?
If we don't, if we eat our boogers, we don't have to wear rubbers no more.
Let me ask you guys a question. Like, I mean, I don't. I mean, Terry, you've traveled quite a bit, so maybe you've ran into some of these people, and maybe you have Jason, but I mean, and I don't know Alex, but I'm curious. How many people with AIDS have you guys actually met and went through and then seen them die? Like they died from AIDS. That you've actually met, not people you've seen on TV, not people that you've seen in like a TV show. Because my whole question, when I was in school in junior high, they used to tell me 1 in 10 people has AIDS. I'd look around and go, "Fuck, I'm out of school with fucking 4,000 people. What's going on?" No one had AIDS. What it was? What? So I'm gonna guess, how many people do you guys all know that have AIDS that have actually died from?
Um, I do
I've known about two. I mean,
yeah, I
you know,
was
I
gonna
mean,
say
I
about
know some
two.
people that are HIV positive and they're living with it now. I mean, again, I think that's a really super valid point to make that you're making though, is like, are we getting extra hype? You know, it's like when the swine flu came out, it's like, oh my God, the swine flu. I remember like I was performing up here And people were talking about the swine flu like hitting LA and infecting LA, and I just started to come up the Northwest. I'm like, what the hell is this? I'm like, fuck, I'm glad I'm not home right now. you know and but here, you start to go back and research. There was a swine flu like scare back in 1973, and the vaccine that they were giving was having some serious reactions people were having to it. And then all of a sudden you didn't hear about it anymore, and it wasn't that big of a deal. But I do remember the vaccine situation. And shortly after that, I noticed that when you get into the airport, I mean, I remember, and I don't want to say, and I don't want to, remember the airplane movies where you saw like the Hare Krishnas and like people begging on the street, and the Salvation Army people, and all these like freaky people all around the airport. It used to be like that. That used to be like, you wanted to avoid not making eye contact so you don't have to get a donation or buy a vegetarian book. You know what I mean? And now it's like where are we at? So that's my feeling about it is that you start to see this fear come out of it. And now you go to the airport. I noticed you go to the airport, and there was like every 10 paces I could walk, there was like an advertisement for me to go get my flu shot there at the airport. I'm like, why are they wanting to give me a flu shot? I'm just flying to like Utah. So I just go, that there's something up with that. The fact that it's so much, anytime you look at something in your face, all of a sudden, do this, do this, do this, fear this, make sure you get a flu shot. You're flying to some other place where you're going to be in a closed plane and have that just be injected with something. So you're going to like maybe,
Bernard Goldberg has a really good document, or it's a book. It's called Bias, Liberal Bias in the Media.
uh-huh.
And I don't think actually it's not liberal bias in the media. I think it's just bias in the media. Period. But it's a lot of a bunch of liberal news people that he's talking about. But one of the chapters in the book is called the Million People with AIDS, and he makes a point. A million people have had AIDS since the 1990s or since 1980s. And if you look at it, every time they talk about it, it's a million people in Africa have AIDS. A million people in Haiti have AIDS. And it's weird that they've stuck with this million people. They've had the same number for fucking over 20 years.
Are you kidding me? It's the same number they tell you if you get $1 million, you're rich. If I had $1 million, I'd be broke in 2 weeks.
Right?
Seriously.
Well, no, and $1 million isn't considered rich anymore.
No, but
Still a lot of money to us.
It's that magic number that sets people off. That's just that.
Ladies and gentlemen,
that
pelvis cam.
What was that, Jason?
This whole time I've been working on something very special. I don't know if I'm skinny enough to put it on.
Oh God, you're not putting on a dress, are you, Jason?
Not at this moment, but it has happened. No, I'm trying to work out pelvis cam.
Pelvis cam. Is that what the GoPro?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, so you can walk around and look like fucking the Smashing Pumpkins video?
I do not know. More like it's like a penis perspective. Like this is how my dick sees the world.
That's cool.
Oh.
That wasn't awesome. All right, still a work in progress.
Still a work in progress. That would be really funny.
So Paul Walker.
Who? I think we're really overstating his importance to the film industry.
Do you think? Do you think? Do you think we're overstating it? Do you think? Here's what's interesting is that when I went to the mall, like, my friends, that we're going to be performing at again this Thursday with Wu-Tang, from .com Records, they go, what do you think about that? Like immediately, and they think that he's an Illuminati sacrifice ritual. And they said that he has been. Don't you know? They go. He's been in Hollywood since he was 2 years old in diapers, and then going through like the automatically, the MK Ultra thing, and this and that, and like just kind of being like part of that entire system of deception is what a lot of like immediately people are coming to a conclusion about. I mean, what do you think about that?
He was not only in that movie, he was actually part of Skull and Bones, and he was a graduate of Yale.
No, but that's a movie. That's not real. I mean, come
No,
on. I mean, that's,
Right.
I mean,
So actually, Paul Walker went to Yale.
oh, we
He's a
did?
graduate of Yale, and he was in the Skull and Bones.
You think
correct.
it'd be
And
smarter to be not be in such bad movies?
And
Yeah.
and then he made a movie about what he really lived?
possibly, yeah.
Or did he, so then like so doesn't that don't you think that makes his the way he died kind of interesting? I mean, it's almost like you said, it's got that James Dean kind of thing to it, which
But
people
he's
have
just
been.
not that good of an actor.
I think.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, like Paul Walker. Paul Walker. I've never watched a Paul Walker
Focusing
movie.
too much on Paul Walker's death. There's so many other people that have died because of fucking things that they've brought to light that don't get
So
recognized.
rude.
Paul Walker, he died before he could get anything to light,
Uh,
Pelvis cam.
I'm sorry.
Pelvis cam is pretty freaking exciting here.
uh,
Oh great, here she is.
Oh,
sure
the
Matt
doggy
Jackson
came
from
in.
All she's doing is waking up my wife every time.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
I don't know,
We,
it's her
we
fault.
need to be quieter.
No, 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 it's
We're
Is
being
it
like
winking
bad
at you?
kids in here. What?
I said, is his camera winking at you?
No, it's
His twin cam? Oh, okay. All right. I see that's the first I've actually got to see it. I was picturing something completely different.
This would be really great for porn if that's what I made, but I don't. But I don't.
But I don't.
Jackson.
Pelvis cam. Checking out my pelvis cam. Watch me do some wiggling. Hula hooping with my pelvis cam. It's exciting stuff though. Watch, look at this. Boop. Just take it
Wait, you
off
know
right
what? I'm
there.
I'm missing the pelvis cam dance I'm on a different angle and stuck over it to make sure I don't have much range here.
Let me stick it in.
It's like terrible.
Oh my god. I'm gonna jam. There we go. There we go.
It's terrible.
Pelvis Wesley.
Oh, I love this is. Oh my god.
Oh, funny.
Okay, maybe we can get a little closer to get more like of North Blatt's face here. Oh, like there, now we got more of a printing coming in. Okay, I can get that close. So,
Watching the video, I'm pretty sure, like, if you watch the video, it looks like whoever's driving, which was the race car driver, supposedly, or whatever.
uh,
And it looks like he overcorrects and hits that wall, and then the thing goes up in flames. It looks like he's driving extremely fast, and a lot of people are like, but he was a race car driver. And I'm thinking, yeah, don't all race car drivers die in
I
cars
was
when they're
gonna
racing?
say, yeah, Daryl Earnhardt. Daryl Earnhardt was one of the best race car drivers.
How come nobody thought Ryan Dunn was killed by the Illuminati?
Right? How about Hulk Hogan's son, kid?
Is he
His son?
is he dead?
Yeah, well, Hulk Hogan's kid
Oh
was a
yeah,
race car.
he crushed
No,
that kid's head.
No, he
His best
killed
friend.
somebody.
Yeah.
He killed his friend at the passenger seat.
Yep. No, that kid lived and he has half a head.
Oh, did he live? I thought he died.
No, he literally has half a head. It's,
Wow.
it's terrible. It's like one of those where the brain's concaved in and they have to put a prosthetic skull in.
No, like maybe he wanted. Maybe sometimes I wonder if it's not just better to die. Like, like what's the quality of life like that? I wonder.
Terrible.
That's just horrible. And you know what's even worse is they're just gonna give them money and walk away from it because that's what they do.
Right?
But yeah, they're just gonna give them a bunch of money and then walk away from it.
I like
It's
money.
terrible.
I don't know. What else do you
But
do?
first died in race car accidents. That's not. It's for me. It's like, but he was a race car driver. How could he mess up driving? Well, that's how they die.
Well, I mean, it's kind of,
You know?
it's kind of odd that he gets killed that way based on the movies that he made. I mean, I mean, and then, it's weird because, and I noticed like a spat. Oh, by the way, and honestly, see Howie Gold, that we had on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he actually posted a rant. I agree with so and so saying about how, people are mourning the loss of his death, but the fact that he was like driving recklessly and being an idiot, killing himself, then he's just an idiot. And then a friend of mine, Carl Kozlowski, he does a lot of journalism and writing, and he's based in Pasadena. I know him, from we've done stuff together, and and so he writes back and he's like, "How dare you say that about him? I wrote an article just right now about what happened. You've no idea what you're talking about. How rude." And these are like comics talking to each other, and I'm like, "Whoa, what's going on here?" And that's when I first realized that he died. I hadn't realized that he had died until I saw that argument in the thread on Facebook. So obviously, like, his death has caused a something with people on some sort of weird emotional level. And again, you're saying like, yeah, he was not that great of an actor. Like I was saying, yeah, he was cute and everything like that, but like, I wouldn't go stand in line to buy a ticket to go see Fast and Furious. It's like it's kind of like one of those like,
I thought the most the saddest part about the whole thing was that it wasn't Vin Diesel, but
Yeah, right.
but
Yeah, these things happen in threes. Like, why wasn't it Paul Walker, Tyrese, and Vin Diesel?
right, right,
That's where the fans come in.
You know,
Is
if
because
you
deaths come in threes, and they took one of them as Brian, the dog from Family Guy.
yeah,
right,
True Brian's.
Like some for Fox 21, whatever that is, like some station in probably like Philadelphia, who knows. And then the other one was Paul Walker, who played Brian O'Connor in The Fast and the Furious. That's three Brians. I thought that was just hilarious.
I mean, well, that in itself just seems like freaking silly. I mean, you want to laugh at that one. You're like, really? Like, wow, that really is a stretch. But then again, the fact that people actually really think that movies or cartoons are actually being played and something else is being acted out in it, like as if they're telling you the truth of the story in our art forms that are being presented, is the question of why they're making fun of that perception. Because obviously, if you make fun of something or a stereotype, or you take something and you make a stereotype out of it, every stereotype has its element of truth to it.
Yeah,
Usually.
Yeah.
Some of them
So
did die.
to me, I feel like it's really positive that people are making fun of themselves, going to those links of like thought, because now I think we're at a point, or what we might say is the enlightenment or the awakening or whatever you want to call it, is I think part of that process of going, oh my God, the emperor isn't wearing any clothes. Just like, it's like that statement, the way that Jack Hare wrote the book, the emperor isn't wearing any clothes. Like I keep thinking about that one phrase. It comes up for me. The emperor hasn't. It's like it's the whole thing's a fucking, like, it's not real. That's how I
well,
look at it.
and that's how I feel that the majority of the country has that feeling inside that, oh my God, the government's naked, but they don't want to say it, because it's the government, and it's just like the emperor. Rather than say you're fucking naked, you idiot, they just say, oh yeah, they're beautiful. Yeah, that's beautiful. It's just a goose stepping, falling in line, and I, I don't know. I think it's I think we're coming to a to a crossroads here pretty soon, where the people are going to stand up and finally just say, "Hey, enough's enough." And it's going to be, I think it's going to be a fucking, I think it's going to be a slaughter. You know, it's going to be horrible for a few months, if not a few years.
And Northblood, I know you've noticed this too, but I don't know if you've seen this yet, Terry or Jason. But why are all the planes in America flying like barely a couple thousand feet off the ground? Have you noticed if you walk outside during the day and look up, planes are. Fuck, I mean, I almost think I could jump and grab some sometimes. They are that low.
They're
Why are
flying
they all?
low.
I mean, I know in Clackamas County we have drones, but other than that, I mean, I'm looking at things today. North Platte was
Are we
out
too
and
loud?
actually shook, and you could hear the sky rumbling. And we looked out, and
Just
it's
let
two
me know.
planes
I mean, I don't want to disturb.
flying right over our house. Very awkward.
Yeah.
But we watched it when we got back to North Platte. We saw two more planes flying very low. North Platte told me he thought he saw a drone or a plane flying very low, or a drone that was flying that almost ran into a plane. What
Yeah,
was the plane?
we saw a drone last week that fucking almost hit another plane. They both cut just in time, but that technically, I've never really seen anything like that because I thought they had fucking people that kept that kind of shit from happening.
Right?
The skies are gonna get way more filled up. Like in 2 years there's gonna be a flying car in mass production, and that's a fact. It's a MIT grad that has a company. He's got the money. In 2 years they're gonna be putting out their first commercial flying cars.
I
So
wouldn't be
like
surprised if they're all testing them.
the airspace is gonna be incredibly crowded.
Well, that's kind of what North Platte thought too. He said, "I think they're getting us ready."
We're gonna be going vertical quite a bit. A lot of like upward living. I mean, literally like vertically up. Uh, like
Right, like Thailand.
stacked people.
Well, they already stacked people.
It's amazing how much of the country is actually empty, but where we are completely stacked.
Yeah,
Like
right.
look over on MLK and Fremont area where there's building 8-story apartment buildings, but you only have to have one parking spot per 4 units. So they're just creating like a parking nightmare for the people that have always lived there. But in the past 3 years, it's gone from about like 30 to 40 black families down to about 6. That's gentrification.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know.
Look,
I've,
see,
I've, I've traveled across the country and whatnot, and I think it's funny when I hear these fuckers say, "Oh, we're running out of room. We're running out of room," and it's like, fuck. I've been to Kansas. I've been to Indiana. I've been to Idaho and Ohio and Iowa. I mean, fuck. All of those Midwestern states are wide fucking open, and you know what? I mean, the biggest response that I get, that I get is, well, but that's Kansas. It's like, fuck you. You're bitching about too many people. Go move to Kansas.
yep.
I
I
mean,
agree. I
I don't think I think that the people concentrate on the coast, of course. We for some reason we have a natural tendency to be by water, and I think that I think that there is a lot of the country that is available, to be built on. But
absolutely.
in the same fucking breath, I'd also say that it would be unnecessary because the amount of foreclosed homes right now in the United States,
12
there's
million.
there is enough foreclosed homes in the United States right now to give a house to every homeless person in the United States.
6 million homeless people, 12 million homes that are empty.
Yeah.
The house right next door here has been empty for
All
4
they
years.
are get a house.
The house next door has been empty for 4 years. They evicted a man who is disabled, and him and his family, and just left it empty, and it remains empty. And they hardly even maintain it. The house is falling in on itself. But they evicted a Chinese man with a family, and without the use of his legs. In fact, they had a bunch of personal affects that were still left, like an old wheelchair and shed and all that stuff. And then it's over time just all been stolen by scrappers and stuff.
So if they evicted him and never put anybody else in,
Nope, it just sits there empty.
so they just lost their money, or they just didn't want
No,
to
they're
take it back.
sitting. They're sitting on it, waiting for the market to be more favorable to their needs. Plus, they can
So
write it off. They
it's
write
like
it
those
off as a
meth
loss.
houses that get busted, and they fucking have to sit there. They fucking spend that, fucking hundreds of thousands of dollars needlessly to fucking clean meth houses, but they don't. But they have to sit for 4 or 5 years before they're allowed to do so. Which is bullshit. That's about it's about as bullshit as the smoking laws in California. I mean, it's just